Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. As-salatu was-salamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam. This is your brother, Coach Zubair Adamji. On behalf of Gain Peace, I'll be sharing with you a series which is targeted towards how can you become confident and a high-value Muslim. So let's begin. This is our episode number 1. And on the screen, you can see that you can access all the slide deck by going through this bit.ly link. This bit.ly link will be available in the description of the video in whichever platform you're watching the video, inshallah. So let's begin. Okay, well, first thing is, it is an interesting video by this brother on his YouTube channel, and I have a YouTube link within the slide deck. It's an amazing video. He's talking about how ashamed some of us can be to be a Muslim and how much we are actually hiding our identity. So that's a very interesting take, and I would highly recommend you guys go and take a look at that video. It's very well done. Now the question is that, hey, why does it matter? Why does it matter for me to be confident about my faith? How does that impact me? Okay, well, take a look at these cars. I'm sure most of you would actually love these cars today, but my question is, have you always loved these cars? What about when you were a child? Would you prefer these cars? So if somebody were to give you keys and you would not be able to relate that, hey, these keys actually give me access to sports cars, and were to give you a choice of, taking a bunch of balloons, what would you choose? Would you choose the bunch of balloons, or would you choose the car keys? The point I'm trying to make is that at many times in our life, we may not have the wisdom and the understanding, the long-term understanding of how valuable something is. So we may prefer something for a short-term gain, for a quick gratification, and lose out on something's long-term value. Well, think about it in a similar way. When there are investment in stocks and properties that people are purchasing, over a period of time, people see that, oh, wow, this has really magnified and it has huge returns on this property. But hey, I wish I had the ability to and the foresight to invest in it while it was cheaper. So that's something similar. The point is that no matter how much successful, how much luxurious life we can live in this world, what would really matter is the destination that we have after death. So that's something very important to remember, and this hadith is a beautiful reminder of that. So I'd like you guys to really reflect on this and reflect on the condition of someone who really lived in a hard time, difficult times in this world, but then is able to go into paradise and live there forever. How would that person feel compared to someone who had an amazing, peaceful, luxurious, comfortable life in this world, but then eventually ends up in hellfire? So that's something you have to keep in mind, that look, the long term, the benefit is in the hereafter and not in this world. So again, we're talking about why it's important for us to be confident in our faith. Continuing on, we have to have a clear worldview. What is the status that we have in this world? Some people think that, hey, this is just like a marketplace, or this is like a resort, and we are a guest of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and my life should be pain-free, and Allah should take care of me. And if something happens, we're like, oh, why is Allah, punishing me? Or why is Allah putting me in this trial? Or why is Allah putting me in this pain? The problem is that we don't realize the actual value, the actual reality of this world. This world is a temporary place. It's a training ground. It's a testing ground. It's something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses to test us and also to develop us. When you are in a basketball field or basketball court, and you have a coach, and the coach is telling you to work harder, sometimes it's pushing you, sometimes it's letting you rest, and so on and so forth. It's to test you, it's to develop you. You can't say, oh, coach, I'm supposed to be here, he's supposed to take care of me. No, he's trying to test and develop you, and to select the ones that are superior, the ones that are high performers, the ones that are hard workers, versus the ones that are not. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cannot be compared to any human being. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٌ. Right? So there's no comparison. There's no comparison of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But I hope that you get the point that this world is a place where we are being tested, like someone at an airport waiting for the next flight. You can make friends, you can do transactions, you can relax, you can watch videos, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, you have a flight. Now think about the air miles card that people use. The more points you have, the better flight you can have. Similarly, whenever death comes, we have to go through this transition. And then the point would be, how much good deeds did we earn? If depending on the amount of good deeds we have, just like depending on the number of air miles you have, you can fly business class through your grave life, or you can be very miserable. Likewise, and then eventually you'll be ending up in paradise, and enjoying it with full energy and best age and so on and so forth, or really being punished in the hellfire. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from it. Again, what we're trying to answer is, why is it important for me to be confident about my faith? Likewise, the beautiful hadith Qudsi by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it tells us that, look, the way that we actually come closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is by obeying what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made obligated to us and staying away from haram. And then the more voluntary good deeds we do, the closer we get to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All this would require me to be confident of my faith. The more confidence I have, the higher chances I have to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There are many other verses from Quran and Hadith that we'll quickly take a look at it. Look, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a promise here that whoever fears Allah, whoever keeps his or her duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will make a way out for him. In Arabic, it's وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ. And Allah will provide him from ways where he did not expect. And it says, وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. And whoever relies on Allah, Allah will suffice it. So look at these promises that we have from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, this is a beautiful hadith in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is teaching a young companion, and it's about seeking, protecting the rights of Allah, protecting the Sharia of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will protect you. When you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the mindset it is teaching you is that, look, no matter how much someone or the whole group or the entire universe tries to benefit you, they cannot do that except by what Allah wants that to happen for you. Likewise, whatever harm they want to bring to you, they cannot do that except by what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants for you. So when you have that mindset and you realize that Allah is the only one that I should really, really love, Allah is the only one that I should submit to, then you will be focused on worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not caring about what other people think about you and your faith. So that's very important to remember as well. Okay, you will also realize now that, hey, look, whatever I want to achieve, I want to be a great scientist, a great businessman, whatever I want to be, I cannot do it alone, as we saw in the previous verses. So you would realize that, look, for me to be a wali of Allah, for me to have the support of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I need to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I need to increase my love for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my confidence in my faith. And then with that, I use my salah, I use my dhikr, and I consistently, with discipline, work towards my goals. Okay, so just like anything else, when you're driving, the first thing you do, you put in a seat belt, right? Depending on what kind of ride you are having, you would have different sorts of protection, as you can see over here. So one of the key protections that we need to take is to avoid sins and to seek the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now let's jump into the topic that we want to cover today, is that what can you do to be more confident about your faith? So number one, knowing who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we were talking about earlier, that once you realize that who is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that Allah is the one who is a creator of everything. And we'll talk about this concept later and in an upcoming episode. I won't give you the answer now. The question is, if I ask you who is the creator of this phone, and some people may say Allah, but then again, hey, we know this is by Samsung or Google or Apple or what have you. So how does Allah impact the creation of this phone? So this is an interesting question I would like you to think about, and we will answer it in an upcoming video, inshallah. So we realize that Allah is the only creator. Allah is the one who can create anything I want. My ideas, my inspiration, my happiness, the wealth I want. Allah is the creator. Allah is the owner. And Allah is the one who is fully in charge of all affairs. Once we truly realize that, then we realize that, look, what really matters is what does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala think of me, and not what people think of me. It also helps once we realize what is my values. What are my values? Do I really value this world or popularity among my friends, or I value the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the likeness, how much Allah likes me, and the pleasures of the hereafter? And what is my worldview? Is my worldview that, hey, whatever is in this world, I'm only going to live once, let me just enjoy as much as I can? Or I realize that this is just a testing and training ground, and my real destination is after death. So that's number one, knowledge of Islam. True, sound knowledge of Islam is very important for you to be confident about your faith. What else can you do? Well, the second thing is that you have to be confident that your faith is not just blind faith. It is logical. It is rational. There's nothing irrational about your faith. So for you to be able to realize that in your own heart and be able to present it will help you be more confident about your faith. And this is something that we will see in the upcoming series, is why do we know that Islam is logical? What evidences do we have about the truth of Islam? Another thing is to be an expert on who you are, right? So when, regardless of whatever you are, if you are in school, in your work, you are in sports, do it at the level of ihsan. This is something that Islam encourages us to do. And as you do that, as you become an expert, you will see that people respect you more, and they will love your values, they will love your religion, and so on and so forth. So be an expert, right? Show that you're bringing a huge amount of value to wherever you are, whether it be at university, college, sports team, work, and so on and so forth. Okay, now this is very important to understand. What am I talking about here? Look, correlation does not imply causation. Okay, so just because two things are present at the same time, it does not mean that one caused the other. Think about it. Just because two things are present together does not mean that one caused the other. So take a look. For example, if you take a look at last 10 murder cases. Okay, let's take a look at last 10 murder cases in whichever city you are in. And if you happen to find that all of those murderers were men, does that mean that the male gender causes brutality or causes violence? That's very important to realize. Now, what happens is, from a topic that we are interested in at the moment, is some people think that, look, look at the condition of Islamic world. Look at the condition of Islamic countries. How much they are leading innovation and research and development and medical breakthroughs, and what sort of political conditions they have, and what sort of human rights they have. So what is important to understand is that the reason for all these things, or the reasons for the lack of innovation and research and human rights, is not Islam. Yes, those are Muslim countries, but you have to dig deeper. What are the real reasons? So for you to be able to understand that, well, take a look at a few things. Number one, take a look at the contributions by Muslims in the past. How open-minded were they? How much caretaking were they when it came to other races, other ethnicities, other religion, and so on and so forth? How were they when they were at the peak of practicing Islam? Okay, now you can also take a look at and have a deeper political understanding is what actually happened. What did colonization did to Muslim communities and Muslim countries, right? How was the talent and the resources extracted out of those countries? You can also take a deeper look at what does current political system and foreign policies do in Muslim countries? How do they influence them? What is the impact of exfiltrating the talent? What is the impact of sanctions? What is the impact of foreign policies? What is the impact of secret service agencies? How does that all work? How does that all fit in? So this is a deeper topic in itself. Now, more importantly, if Islam was the cause of so-called backwardness or lack of progress, then how come these Muslims, when they come to West and they're given an equal opportunity, they're excelling? So for you to understand that, you have to start thinking, what are the contributions of the Muslims today? What are Muslims doing in the West, for example? So here are some examples. So this is our brother Saqib Sheikh from Microsoft. His video is linked there. He was blind from his childhood, but he is a pioneer and a leader in developing an amazing technology that really helps out the visually impaired ones. I would highly recommend you go and check out this video. I'd like to share a bit about myself. So my day job is I work as a cybersecurity researcher for Microsoft. I don't hide my identity as a Muslim, and I have done several presentations at several different conferences regarding my research and so on and so forth. So here you can see me presenting at different conferences. I spoke the same conference with Dr. Neil. We were co-speakers at the same conference. So again, just sharing from that perspective. Okay, you have other examples like there was an article done by CNN on top influential Muslims and how they're contributing into society. So it's important for us to read about those contributions and read about those people. So again, every link is available for you. This is Dr. Ike Ahmed from Toronto. He has amazing discoveries in the field of ophthalmology, glaucoma treatment, eyesight, and so on and so forth. I highly encourage you to go out and check him out and his profile and the work that he has done. These are some of the Bay Area startup founders, right? They have done amazing work in terms of the technology that they have invented and how they sold their company. Here's another one, Rihan, amazing work, Elastica, and now he's doing another startup. So again, it's very important for us to check out what Muslims are doing and how they're contributing in the American society today. So if you want to take a look at other stories, you can use this link, Self-Development and Growth Plan. I have a list of podcasts which actually shares with you the videos and the stories of people who are making amazing contribution in the society. So have a look at it. It's good to maybe consume one podcast every week. It will give you new ideas. It will inspire you, and it will also show you what Muslims are doing in today's society. So let's recap. So we talked about why is it important for you to be confident about your faith. And how you can be confident. Number one is knowledge of Islam, having a good company around you. If you are hanging out with other practicing Muslims, other confident Muslims that will help you be more confident, being an expert on what you're doing, and being aware of what value Muslims are adding to their society. So in the next series, we'll talk about why is Islam logical, why is Islam rational, how you can present Islam, and some of the common objections about Islam. And then later on, we will inshallah also talk about how you can actually get the most out of your life, how you can be super productive, super effective, and be a leader in your life. So we'll talk about those things in the upcoming episodes. So please write to us, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about this series, what you would like to hear, if you have any questions, and so on and so forth. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.